Well, good afternoon again, and to anybody out there, or just to myself, or to Google. Um, I realised when I was reviewing what I'd said yesterday or some other day that I had Jesus Christ both having already returned and yet to return, and that just reflects the confusion that I have in my mind sometimes because my eschatology has taken some hard knocks over the past year or so, or more than a year actually, since I left the dispensational church that I was attending because I got fed up of waiting to be whisked up into the air before the next service, as the preacher used to warn us. It seemed so unlikely. So now that I've taken on little season eschatology, because it is an eschatology, of course, um, we believe that, or I've come to believe that this is Satan has been loosed upon the earth and will be cast into the lake of fire at the end of this period. And it was preceded by the millennial reign of Christ. So Christ must have returned to reign on earth. And of course, he returned during the tribulation. And I think you can see that in the book of Revelation. So he returned to rule on earth. So the question is, well, where is he? I know that his spirit lives through his disciples, through his sheep, through all believers. But, he is a literal King of Kings, and his palace will be at this point somewhere on earth. And I think this is what is referred to by the camp of the saints, where Jesus Christ is present and has been for the past 2,000 years almost. Now, if the millennial reign of Christ then lasted for 1,000 years, as millennium seems to say, although I don't think numbers in the Bible, sometimes they're not quite as literal as they are in our mathematical system. So I'm not quite sure about it. But if it were indeed 1,000 years, and if we assume that the return of Christ occurred in 70 AD or thereabouts, then it would have ended in 1070, and that would have marked the beginning at that rate of the little season of Satan. But that would mean that the little season of Satan has been continuing for almost 1,000 years. And if we follow the logic, it will be 1,000 years on in 2070, I guess. That will be the date that marks the end of 1,000 years. There's nothing to say that the little season would last 1,000 years, but I don't know whether there's anything to say how long it would last at all, other than the fact that it's called little. But that might not be, little isn't really a temporal adjective, is it? Necessarily, it could mean of low importance or of anyway of finite nature. But Jesus Christ would already then be here in the camp of the saints, which, whether that's located in Greenland or somewhere in the northern areas that are inaccessible to us, are militarily forbidden. And we're told that it's due to conflict, with the Russians and all the rest of that nonsense. Whether you can travel there or not, I don't think you can, kind of thing, in a camper van, because they'll stop you. You might have to travel as a spirit body rather than as a human body. I don't know. Something like that. Because it was the return of Christ in 70 AD then, when the Mount of Olives was cleft in two and the great valley was made between the two sides. Because that marks the return of Jesus. There's so many different aspects to this, and I don't know whether we can get it right. I probably can't get it right, but that's the way that I'm thinking at the moment, anyway. And it seems to be an interesting prospect, even though it would mean that I would never see the open celebration of Christ's reign on earth, because everything is currently shrouded by the ever darkening mirror or mirrors that we're provided with by the adversary. It would be great to see them removed, and I think we're beginning to see the traces of their ultimate removal. Not the traces, what's it called? I can't think of words these days, but we can see that these things are beginning to happen. It's moving in a very good direction overall, even though there are some slight humps to overcome. It's an inspiring thought indeed. And if I could go up to the camp of the saints, that would be a kind of a place, I think, where I could hang out, and I think a lot of us could hang out at that place. I think it'd be good. I'm pretty sure there'd be some fishing nearby. There's sure to be a decent river. A proper campsite needs somewhere to go fishing, or maybe there'd be some game to shoot in the offing, places for building fires, and places for playing musical instruments in celebration of the majesty and the glory of the King of Kings, because he would be over the camp. Imagine that. God bless.